Y'all still remember yesterday's teaser, right? It seriously hyped up the hype for episode 5, cause now no one really knows what to expect from it. Anyway, just a few hours later, fans noticed that the Wacky Watch website got updated too. We saw Jax again, out in the savannah with something weird in his mouth, and a caption that said, "On the next episode of the amazing digital circus, who gave Jax a gun in the middle of the hot savannah with all these endangered species? I wonder how this might end." Looks like we're fully ditching the whole sports theme and heading straight into a wild savannah adventure, hunting for rare animals that Kane's probably gonna give some kind of crazy powers to. But hey, don't forget about that other teaser that announced episode 5 was dropping soon, even though it didn't really give away anything juicy. What hit me right away was how dark that teaser felt. Maybe Glitch is trying to hint at some terrifying truth about the digital circus, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. The moment with a cheerful Gangle, abruptly cut off by the truck scene, fully convinced us that the digital circus is a kind of game, or perhaps a parallel reality, where people end up after their death, with their consciousness transferred into a virtual space. But what does this have to do with the one and only Albert Spudsy? Let's break it all down. Among all the characters in the circus, only one was alive at the time of their teleportation into the amazing digital circus. Who do you think it could be? Share your theories in the comments. Each adventure we've seen reflects the real-life experiences of the character who stars in that episode. For example, episode 3 mirrored Kinger's hobbies and interests, while episode 4 completely captured Gangle's life story.
And you can be the shift manager!
You did not just make that today's adventure.
I think I might be able to give it a swing. Being a shift manager was my job at one point.
Gangle herself confirmed this, making the truck scene a memory from her real life. Remember how happy she was before the accident, and immediately after, we see her completely devastated. Gangle managed to suppress this memory, but Kane couldn't let it go and decided to use this haunting moment from her past. This suggests that all the characters are fully aware they're dead, which explains why they seem unbothered by their existence in the digital circus. After all, they've essentially been granted immortality. Meanwhile, Pomni is left in the dark, unable to comprehend the full reality of her situation.
Well, how do I, leave?
Well, don't freak out about it or anything, but, we don't exactly...
You can't!
What? Wait, was that an exit door I saw out there? Is that a way to leave?
As you may have guessed, Pomni is the only one who entered the digital circus while still alive. But beyond the fact that the rest of the characters are deceased, more on the details of their deaths later, all of them are interconnected. In one of her posts, Gooseworx revealed that episode 4 would be very personal, meaning we can safely assume it holds much deeper secrets compared to the other episodes. By now, it's clear that Gangle was a shift manager in the real world, as episode 4 directly showed us this part of her past.
Well, I guess I should get into manager mode and get us all kicked off. And with that out of the way, let's get to work, guys!
And her death occurred shortly after the encounter with the truck. This much is clear, but few remember episode 2 and the similar truck we saw there, one driven by Gangle. More importantly, though, is who was sitting next to her. None other than the chaotic Jax. Let me clarify right away. Nearly all the characters work together in a fast food restaurant, and I'll prove this to you shortly. Episode 4, in this sense, can be considered the backstory for all the characters. In real life, Jax was someone Gangle couldn't stand, and she did everything she could to make his life miserable. This eventually pushed things to the breaking point, and on that fateful day, depicted in episode 4, it all escalated to a level Jax could no longer endure. And now we recall the truck from episode 2, the fact that Jax was supposed to be the one driving it, and that Jax has a driver's license, combined with the truck that ended Gangle's life. This leads us to the conclusion that Jax is, in fact, the one responsible for Gangle's death. He was behind the wheel of that same truck on the road near the fast food restaurant. This scene reflects Jax's complete despair, but when you think about it, it could also hint at his own demise. After colliding with Gangle, Jax lost control of the truck and likely crashed into something. A strong impact with the steering wheel might have led to his death. Interestingly, something like this was hinted at in episode 2. I'm sure many have noticed the rather intriguing relationship between Jax and Ragatha.
I want to see what your funny cartoon body does.
Hey, take it easy.
Oh, take it easy. That's you.
Do you think pairing them up together is a good idea?
Of course I do.
Oh, you know how men are. Always having the silliest priorities.
Don't I know it?
The same dynamic can be observed between Jax and Zubel.
All left by me.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Ooh, a new AI. You don't want to mess with the new AI, Zuby?
Yeah, no.
And Zubel turned straight.
My limbs straighten up and f*** off.
What about you?
He refuses to show us because he's a coward. The only thing holding Kane back is the fact that he likes us. I wouldn't push it.
That's rich coming from you.
Let's recall Gangle's words about Ragatha.
Oh, Ragatha. I love her, but after a while it gets kinda hard to tell how genuine she's actually being.
And realize that she knows far more about her than Pomni does. Episode 4 also gave us insight into Ragatha's not-so-helpful habit, disguised humorously as dumb sauce. But considering the mannequin's level of dependency, it's crystal clear what the creators were really implying. Taking into account how Ragatha was in the real world and Jax's character traits, it's not too far-fetched to assume that there could have been some romantic tension or even a relationship between them. But now, let's shift our focus to Zubel, as these three characters are deeply intertwined. Remember the end of their work shift?
You know, when Ragatha gets off, I feel like she might need a designated driver.
Why are you asking me? I'm closing tonight.
Oh, no, I meant I'd drive her home.
Oh. I think she gets off in an hour?
Okay, I can stick around until then.
Zubel wanted to take Ragatha home herself, but seeing the state Ragatha was in, it became clear that even if they made it to Zubel's car, they weren't going anywhere. It's highly likely that Zubel realized she couldn't manage driving while also looking after Ragatha. Then, they spotted Jax in the parking lot. The same Jax who, as we know, hadn't left for home yet. Zubel asked Jax to drive them home while she kept an eye on Ragatha, but somehow Jax managed to transfer them into the infamous truck. What followed next is the tragic series of events we've pieced together. Episode 2 provides key clues, especially with what appears to be Ragatha's potential death. After the crash, Ragatha may have survived initially, but shards of the windshield likely pierced her body, with one fatal piece striking her heart. As for Zubel, her mismatched body parts in the digital circus suggest she suffered the most devastating injuries, practically being put back together after the accident. This aligns perfectly with the theory that the digital circus represents life after death. The lack of pain among the characters makes sense. After all, how can you feel pain if you're already dead? Lastly, the final piece of the puzzle is Kinger. Being the last to die in the real world, he seems to possess a unique ability that sets him apart.
Just leave it to me. I can handle this. Well,
Aside from his excellent shooting skills and the catastrophic mistake that led to his wife Queenie's death, Kinger was a man consumed by obsession. His tragic fate lingered even after his death, subtly reflected in the final scene of episode 4. We see Kane handing out scores after the adventure, and on the chalkboard, there's an image of Kinger participating in a rodeo. This moment likely references an actual event from his life, rodeo being the passion that helped him cope with the devastating incident involving Queenie. Now let's circle back to episode 2. In the scene with Ragatha, we're shown Kinger with knives piercing his head. This could very well be a callback to his rodeo days. What if, during one fateful ride, Kinger lost control and the bull gored his head with its horns? This theory not only aligns with his strange appearance in the digital circus, but also explains his erratic behavior, which could be a mix of lingering trauma and the weight of his personal tragedy. And lastly, let's figure out who's behind the creation of this whole space. CNA has been one of the biggest mysteries of the amazing digital circus for a year now, and people have been linking it to Cain and Abel for a while, but I'm not going to dive into religion here. I've got a more interesting and believable theory. It's pretty clear by now that CNA refers to the creators of the digital circus, and if we know that C stands for Cain, just a week ago we found out the second name. Albert Spudsy, yep, the guy who owns the fast food chain Spudsy's, is the one who represents the A. The The very first teaser for the amazing digital circus basically proves that Kane was once a human, someone who got moved into this virtual world, which stripped him of his human form and turned him into an NPC. That confirms Kane is one of the creators of TADC. And now that we know the second part of the mystery is Albert Spudsy, it's pretty likely that he's the second creator. This is something Gooseworx hinted at in episode 4. As for Pomni, she could have been his daughter or someone he experimented on to see what would happen to a living person who got stuck in this otherworldly space. And finally, I gotta ask, why did Ragatha start acting all friendly when she was totally different in real life? Maybe it's because she realizes that the only way she can earn back some respect is by changing,